Right, we're gonna watch some boys plus girl, I think. They're gonna do like a very brief spoiler-free review of Brand New Day, and we're gonna see. I'm very familiar with most of the people on this panel, and I am not as analytically equipped as most of these guys, though I am big fans of most of these guys. I watch them all the time. So let's see what everyone says about Spidey. I'm going to do a disclaimer. I suspect none of them like it as much as I do. Or they cautiously optimistic or tepidly like it. If I had to guess, I'd say Ryan will be critical of it, and I dare say Mauler will beat the shit out of it because he's a miserable cunt. No, just kidding. Mauler's got very strict standards on writing, and, you know, that leads him to criticize a lot of things because a lot of things don't maintain that logical internal consistency. Like I said, not as equipped as him, and I forgive a lot of stuff that he wouldn't forgive, and I don't even detect half the problems he does. So that's my guess. It's hard to say where everyone else will land on it, but we'll see. Let's go.
Nerderotic.com. All right, so we're going to go around the horn. We're going to do spoiler-free thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to start with Shad.
So overall, I found this movie very meh to a little bit.
Nah, you stupid Mormon piece of shit. Nah, just kidding. Fellow Aussie. Sorry, you know, just banter. They can say whatever they want. Go.
Above average, but I can see why people are loving it.
Yeah, all forgiven. We're mates again.
On a surface level, you get to see Spider-Man be Spider-Man, and that's kind of been my gripe with all the other MCU ones. And like, you know, the first one, there was a Homecoming I enjoyed, but then the next two I did not like. But trying to judge this film just on its own.
But he didn't like Far From Home or No Way Home. You're a psych ward inductee, my friend.
This one actually does feel like Spider-Man. It gets kind of that core. Like narratively, there's a lot of problems, but at its base, like it gets the kind of the things that it needs right. I think it suffers dramatically from not having a strong antagonist, and there is a lot of just like don't think about this stuff, hand wavy stuff. He develops certain things throughout the film, which he has no justification, just in the backyard. You know, where is he getting certain money to support himself? Hey, all these things aren't really addressed, and that's a bit of a letdown. Like Spider-Man is always like traditionally. He has struggled to support himself. That's been a thing because being a superhero takes away from him having a job.
Yeah, you see what I mean? I didn't even think when he was working with his gadgets, like, how's he paying for all of this? And I need to see the justification for that income. I don't know. Like, when I see Spider-Man's tech, I always just assume, some connection with Happy or Tony's estate, being that Tony is like the reason Spider-Man is an Avenger these days. I'm not going to go to bat for it because you know what they say, you don't do the writing for the writers. If it's a hole, it's a hole. I accept it. I also should just say sorry about being a cunt as well. I just am one, and I don't mean anything by it. I know some Mormons. They're fucking awesome. There you go. We're mates again. Shad's a good guy. I've seen his channel a bunch. He seems like a good guy anyway. I don't know the cunt.
Job. They don't really address any of that. It's just it's being Spider. But the thing on the surface level, people want to see Spider-Man be Spider-Man. This movie kind of delivers that. I do like that he's wearing his mask a lot throughout the film. There was a couple of times when I think taking off the mask, but
bro, that's not a criticism of this movie. He wears the mask most of the time. So if he does take it off a couple of times, come on. This movie was cool. I want to see people go, this was good.
So that's kind of like my overall thing. Like, it's the type of movie that if you start to think about it, you're going to start to find some pretty big problems. Yes. But if
true,
you just
but I only watched it a couple of hours ago, so I'm not quite there yet.
Like a normie that wants Spider-Man, it's delivering on that front. And
I'll push back on this too. Hey man, just because people don't, tear shit apart with the writing doesn't mean we're normies. Like, I'd be what you'd call a normie. I'm just not smart enough when it comes to analysis and writing. I can absorb things much more forgivingly. And when I hate shit, like, I'll have my reasons for it and I'll try to justify it, but it might not even be something that's a continuity error in the writing. It might just be something that, affects my personal sensibilities and I'll go off. But the normies like me, speaking only for myself and anyone who's like me, we're just as much nerds. We love Spider-Man. We watched him since we were toddlers. We're shitting in our nappies. We had Spidey and Batman and Supes and all this shit. So I get what he means, though. I guess he does. I guess he just means people who are the bulk of the audience, who are like, let's take our kids to the movies and that. Can you sense that I'm already like getting defensive? I actually do know what he's saying, so it's true. It just hasn't affected me, and I really loved it. It's enough. I loved seeing it. It was enough for me.
And it seems like people are really enjoying it. But my takeaway, like I said, very meh for me when I came out of it, because
Yeah, well, now I hate you again. Just kidding.
those problems, there were things I liked, a lot of things I disliked. That's where I'm sitting with it at the moment.
All right. Garrett.
I really enjoyed it. I think this is one of, if not the best performance from Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I feel like he finally locked in. I like his performance has always been pretty consistently good, but I feel like this one he felt like he knew what he wanted to do with this character in this movie.
I agree with all of that. He's always been a good Spider-Man, and he nailed it. His portrayal of Peter in this one, brilliant.
Definitely have issues with the villain. Like Shad just said, it has a problem with the villain. It's not really a villain. It's like a thing. So there.
Well, that's the thing as well. I get that she is a villain, and she's totally been absolved of her villainy, it looks like. And I could do the thing where it's like, who knows? We'll get to see it flushed out later. You can't say what I've just said there. It can be uttered, but it carries no water as an argument. Like, she is a out-and-out villain in this. And yet, this is why I'm not a good analyst, because I did find myself just in the emotive part, relating and sympathizing and empathizing with her. And I get that. When you have a heroine or a hero commit morally atrocious acts and then go, yeah, I know, but because of this, I get that. They're right so far, Shad and Garrett so far.
There's problems with that, but I feel like the it's a little bifurcated, because of there's one side that's telling a story over here about that villain, and then there's the Peter Parker and him changing and all that stuff and dealing with his friends and things, aspects of that. I feel like those parts worked really well. If it was focused on just that, I think it would be a phenomenally better film. But overall, I enjoyed it coming out of it. I liked all the character interactions between him and Punisher, and him and the Hulk. The Hulk fight was rad. Just a little kid comic book brain. I go, that's awesome. We got the Hulk's, like, the line, there's no banner, only Hulk. Then he does a smash, like, that was awesome. So
yeah, that was sick.
Like, that on that level, it was hitting really well. But yeah, there are a lot of problems with the villain specifically.
Comics.
I had a lot of fun watching the movie. There are some things that they did which was great. I love kind of the buddy cop aspect between Spider-Man and the Punisher.
That was really good. It worked really well. It was kind of it was counterintuitive to see Punisher like that and have it work so well. It does kind of create like a what's the right word for it? It's like a jolting, like you're such a serious character, and now you're kind of giving us the laughs and that. It works organically for the movie, but yeah, externally with all the other Punisher content, it is jarring. That's the right word.
The fight scenes were really well done, the swinging scenes as well, but holy fuck, is the plot stupid as hell.
Settle down, cunt.
And that's kind of the biggest weakness of this movie. It is the actual story. Of course, we really can't get into the whole thing with spoilers because the antagonist, but it definitely kind of gives you some WandaVision vibes. Yeah.
He's right. It does. Fuck.
But overall, like I said, had a lot of fun. And I hate saying this because it's like, if you think about the movie, you're going to see a lot of issues with it and you might not like it. And God forbid, I'm never going to tell someone to turn their brain off when they
Yeah, I was going to say Muller's here. Do not bring up turning your brain off.
Yeah, no, it's
I just kidding.
Yeah, it's not turn your brain off. It's like I like the EFAP philosophy where they say, like for Man of Steel, which I also really love, and they notoriously despise it. It's like you can like something that's written like dog shit, so long as you accept that the writing is dog shit. Which, when I watch their content, they're much better at this stuff than I'll ever be. And especially when you watch, like, for example, Mauler's 7, I think he's up to 7 parts for The Force Awakens. It's kind of like unassailable logic in there when it comes to the writing flaws, the many writing flaws. So it's not turn your brain off. It's can you enjoy something that is put together well, mediocrely or poorly.
Try it. I tell you.
I think there's a way where you can be cognitively aware of the problems with it, but then also be aware of how fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of potential to this movie, and it's sad where that falls flat. But overall, like I said, I had a lot of fun with it.
Fake Wizard.
All right. So spoiler free. I like what Tom Holland did with it. I like what Tom Holland did with Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I feel as if he has said that he's been paying attention to what like fans are saying online, like us. And I feel like he's been listening to the conversation of people constantly comparing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and him. And he was like, no, I'm going to lock in and really put in a good performance. And I think he did.
Yeah, whether he did that or not, it has had that effect in this movie. Like, this has got to be performance-wise, as Peter and Spider-Man, his crescendo at so far up until this point. We have, of course, got Toby as our Spider-Man growing up, if you did when I did, and he'll always be that because we saw it so young. And we've got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 with him starring in it. That's still, like, the best Spider-Man movie made so far. So, yeah, whether it's true or not that Tom was thinking that, he's given it everything he can. Yeah, so far this is totally harmless, especially if I'm jumping in. I should have done the disclaimer at the start if I could speak properly. Yeah, I'm like a very hyperbolic, unfair person, but it's all in good fun. It's just shit talk. Like I said, I watch like 90% of the people on this panel's YouTube channels, and they're all good at what they do. Sorry, they're all fucking grifters. This is all just grifting.
Everything that has to do with the villain and the cameos, I have major problems with. I agree everything that Chad said about, like, as soon as you start thinking about this, it falls apart immediately. And to some extent, I could try to throw. Mauler's going to tear this apart.
Is he? No, not Mauler. Fucking hell.
Try to throw an explanation out there of when you look at Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, that's a great movie on its own before it's a comic book movie. Before it is a great movie before it's a Spider-Man movie, even though it is. This feels like it's a comic book movie first before it's a movie. And I think that is something for, like, maybe we can talk about later. Clearly, there's inspiration here from the Insomniac PlayStation video games, 100%, especially with the combat, which I thought the combat was awesome. I think my biggest, we can't talk about the villain yet, and we'll rage.
We will. Just
in a moment.
General thoughts.
The implications on this movie make me walk away and say, I don't want any more Avengers. I don't want any more MCU. I just want Spider-Man movies, and everybody else could just cameo in the Spider-Man movies.
I actually agree with that. I love the Infinity Saga, but phases 4 and 5 were so fucking pathetic and shit with some minor stands out. Like, I'm more generous than most people. I've only done a few, like, Marvel videos on my channel, and every time for some reason I bring up Thunderbolts because I actually liked it, even though, like, I watch all these guys' reviews and the points they made about it are true, but I like it anyway, despite it being kind of poorly written and messy and kind of shitty. It's not shitty to me. It's where your emotions start wanting to override a logical argument. And I'll even let myself do that for the fun of it and the expressiveness of it. But it's like once the catharsis is over, it's like, do you actually dispute? And do you have anything to contend with the logic they've offered? And you're like, well, no, but I liked it anyway. I agree with what Fake Wizard just said. Like, I just want superhero movies kind of on their own for a while. The universes, the cinematic universes, and that, I'm sick of them. I think that's a really common sentiment now. I really hope they collapse, take a break, and we get, like, Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies luckily can be watched, even despite the external characters from the MCU. It doesn't invade it for me, anyway. Fuck, this will be forever if I keep doing this, so I'll let them talk. That's
Because we look at, like, oh, what's next? Like Doomsday. I feel dread looking at Doom. I don't want to watch that. But I would love to see another Spider-Man movie if this is like the kind of quality that they're going to put out and then learn from the mistakes here. Like, I would love to see more of that. I think this makes everything on Disney Plus that's like street level look terrible. This makes Daredevil Born Again look even worse than it already did because that exists in the continuity here somehow.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah.
The Punisher tie-in with the whatever the movie was, One Last Shot, whatever that was, that looks terrible next to this too.
Yes.
Like, when this Punisher is so much more charismatic than anything we've seen with Disney so far, but I'm at like a 7.5 territory. The problems I have with this are, damn, we were this close to greatness, I think.
Mm-hmm. Odin.
When it comes to the film itself, obviously it's hard to really talk about without getting into spoilers. I liked the movie, but I definitely did not love it. I found that there were a lot of fun moments throughout, but not nearly as many fun moments as were in No Way Home.
So far, what have we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the 5th guy. They're all kind of alluding to the exact same thing. You know what it is? It's going to be the WandaVision criticism, which will be a valid criticism. We'll see. We'll let the others talk.
It's kind of like the bar that I'm kind of, gauging there, because I know No Way Home's got a lot of problems too, but I mean, everything about the cameos and everything with Toby and Andrew Garfield, like all that stuff, it just made the movie so much fun, and it was actually done well enough to where I wanted to go back and actually watch it again. With this one, I like certain aspects to it, but basically anything MCU, which is luckily not too much of the film, but enough for it to be a major distraction, anything MCU related was really bad and was very distracting. And so that's why I like the film. I did not love the film. And again, we'll go into more details.
Interesting. The MCU stuff didn't do that for me. But once again, how could you not say that it's not there for others who are pulled out of it when they see the Punisher stuff, the Hulk stuff, the implications for things like Daredevil and the horrid continuity that we have going on since the end of the Infinity Saga.
When we get into spoilers.
Disprove.
I liked probably about 60% of it. I thought that was excellent. And then there's the connective tissue between those scenes that just stopped everything. And that was my main issue with it. If this movie had stopped 90 minutes in, I think I would have liked it a lot more. But it just goes on and I think ruins everything that came before.
there's plenty of I liked the interaction between Spider-Man, Hulk, and the Punisher, and I would have preferred to see that expanded rather than what we've got between like him and MJ. I think if you're going to bring in these other characters, they should be for a reason, not just because it'd be cool to watch them fight, but what is it about that character that conflicts with Spider-Man, and like where can they have that kind of clash of sort of ideologies or philosophies or how they deal with situations? I didn't really think there was anything of that there. It was just more, this would be a cool fight, which it was. I just wish there was more.
That's a fair criticism. That's very fair. I personally think the heart of the story was Peter's I don't want to just use the word maturity, but it's, you know, I don't have the greatest vocabulary, but the stuff with him and MJ, it's pure emotion with all the other stuff writing wise when it comes to continuity errors. And like he was saying, there's no exploring philosophies between the different characters. It's kind of like the old smashing toys together argument. Yeah. Maybe I'm just a absolute little slut for romance and love lost and trying to have it regained. It was working wonders on me, the core story element.
Instead, there was a lot more emotional stuff with his friends. And I just, given previous movies, I kind of wish that had been replaced with other stuff. I'll talk about it more in the spoilers. There was also other ideas brought up which I wish had been expanded on, especially with the Hulk. Quite a few times it was an interesting sentence and then it was just forgotten about, or an idea, and that's gone and replaced with something else. Really hated what they did with the villain. Really liked it at first, then that was undermined itself. And I just felt there was a lot of that with those sort of, just as it's building up something, it's like, no, we got to go over here now and we're going to do something else.
You can tell what he's alluding to there. When you first see the possession element from the villain, it's crazy the implications of it, what it could be, and how dark it could truly get. And then when you find out who it is, it's like, whoa, can you really have that? Are we allowed to do this? It's the One Division thing. Surely it is. Someone already mentioned it, didn't they, earlier on in this? If that is indeed what everyone keeps bringing back, very valid. Very valid.
It felt like the movie that I wanted. I think they're trying to please two different audiences, and I'm not sure you can do that when they have such polar opposite opinions of things. But the combat excellent, especially where it's Spider-Man versus multiple people. That was great.
All right. Ryan.
Yeah, why'd you say it like that? I really liked it.
I felt like it.
I really liked it. I think
Well, fuck me sideways, Ryan. Welcome. Me too.
Tom Holland gives a great performance, and I think the movie's strengths are its like character work and the emotion that is tied to those characters. And I think it can work on a multitude of levels for depending on the person watching it, whether you're talking about like somebody that's dealing with a heartbreak, whether you're talking about somebody who just feels lonely in the world, whether you're talking about someone who's lost their connection with friends. I think a lot of that stuff hit pretty hard, hit harder than I expected it to, especially considering I haven't really cared all that much about Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU as a whole.
That's a great observation, and I think he just encapsulated it far better than I when I stumble all over me words. It's definitely yanking on every single one of those threads: isolation, the loss of friends, the loss of love, and it relies on that to carry the entire thing. It almost bulldozes over continuity and consistency and characterization with the villain, etc., etc. And you see where we're getting at with the different types of fans we all are and our different preferences and what we have as paramount. I'm dreading, now that I'm watching these guys, they're not liking it as much as I was hoping, considering how bad the MCU's gotten. I was hoping it would be a much bigger breath of fresh air than it is. I'm actually kind of dreading getting to Mauler now. Is I'll actually be shocked if he was like, you know what, guys, I really liked it, and here's all the reasons why. I have a feeling he's going to rip Deadpool 3 levels of piss out of this. But I do agree with what kind of in Ryan's camp here.
I really enjoyed the Spider-Man Punisher stuff to a limit. I think there was points in the movie where I was like, okay, we've had that, we've had enough of that, let's move on. Overall, I think their dynamic is really good. I have concerns about what they're going to do with the Punisher after this movie, because I don't know how some things can work in the aftermath of this movie that I have criticisms about, which I'll get into. From a story plot element, I think a lot of this movie seems rushed. And I think that's because of the third act and what the focus was on in the third act, which I have issues with. But there are things that are like, okay, if you're going to do that, there either has to be some ramifications or some explanation, which we didn't get.
True. This is so far Ryan's most accurately representing how I viewed it. The movie ends with all that hanging in the air, and it won't be addressed. And I don't know that, but we all suspect it. Put it this way, it's not addressed in the movie. So the movie bookends. It opens, it tells its story, and it closes. So as a self-contained thing, you can either accept that, what it's done, or it can erode everything about the movie, because there are no ramifications, and the implications are, they're ghastly when if you want to take a microscope to it, even just flat out on its surface. If you're not the villain or Peter, who gets to know her and see things through her lens due to the mind penetrating powers, then there is no excuse for any of this. So it's a tough one.
And I think that happened a lot at little points throughout the movie that leads to what you guys are talking about in terms of, if you think about this, well, why didn't they show us this? What happens with this? What happens with that? There's a lot of questions you can ask yourself while watching this movie. I think it's a better movie than No Way Home. And I think the fact that it hits emotionally harder, in my mind, a true emotionally harder, as opposed to just based on nostalgia, I think is pretty impressive considering what we saw with No Way Home. So overall, I really liked it. I don't think it's some perfect movie. And
that's it. To me, it was hitting a deeply emotional component. And I mean, I wasn't even analyzing anything to do with the story. I was just so affected by it. And when you put that sort of emotion and dress it up in the skin of your favorite superhero, I mean, it's like an effect multiplier. It's like this, we're going to show someone isolated and who's lost his friends and his love. It's like, oh, I can relate to that. Who can't? It's such a human story. And man, I'm feeling this one particularly, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and it's Spider-Man doing it. You're like, oh, fuck me, dead. I'm cooked here, boys.
There's certainly things to talk about, especially in regards to a character that they set up, the antagonist, if not the villain, which we'll get to in spoilers.
All right. Farrah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this movie. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I still felt that it was a good film overall. I do think that the first and the second half end up feeling quite different from one another. Now, I do think that both of those different tones were sort of needed. I just wish that the transition was done a little bit more seamlessly. The antagonist, I didn't have any major problems with. I do think that obviously they're trying to set up for this character to be part of the, larger universe and this larger storyline that they want to do. But I thought the acting was very good in this movie for me.
Acting is brilliant across the board in this. That's one thing you can't. That's like, it's not to do with the plot or the story. The people doing their jobs all nailed it. It's acted brilliantly. I agree with what she's saying about the setup for the future post Doomsday and Secret Wars. I just know how a lot of these guys analyze things, and that doesn't carry any water. So I actually agree with her and what Ryan said, but it's not going to be a defense with writing in that. And I don't think she's setting up to do that. She's just resonated with it a bit harder, like me, I guess. I'll let her finish. Hey, lads.
most of the performances, definitely a step up from some of the other films. I was not a fan of Homecoming or Far From Home. I liked like Mysterio, for example, but at the same time, that was a very almost small portion of that film when you really get into how many different locations there are and how many different characters you're sort of balancing. But it felt like a Spider-Man movie, which I really appreciated because a lot of the times you end up having, like in Homecoming and Far From Home, they're more so Iron Man villains, and it felt like the focus was not as much on Spider-Man in a way. It's just like Spider-Man was cleaning up this mess, and that doesn't.
I don't agree with that at all. Yes, they are from the rogues gallery of other characters in the MCU, factoring in the broader spectrum of being in the MCU as Spider-Man, but they are Spider-Man movies. I never quite got that. Well, I do get it. Liar. I'm a fucking liar of misledgers. I just didn't agree with it when they have levied criticisms in the past, whether it's these guys or anyone else, when it's been said that it's not really a Spider-Man movie because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, it is a Spider-Man movie. Similar to how there's a lot of fans out there who think that Civil War, it's a cliche, that it's like an Avengers light. It's not a Cap movie due to the heavy influence from other characters. It is a Captain America movie, though, not just because its title or its release slate. The premise, the linchpin of the entire story is Cap and his relationship with Bucky and everything that unfolds. I think the same thing about this Spider-Man movie. And it's kind of crazy. You didn't like Homecoming or Far From Home? That's kind of crazy, lady. Weird. But good on her. I think we're 4 movies deep and he's Spider-Man and not Spider-Boy. Continuing.
Doesn't necessarily happen in this. I really enjoyed the team up between Spider-Man and Punisher, and I thought that their dynamic was pretty good. I do think that the plot overall was a bit weaker, but at least in the movie you see Spider-Man being Spider-Man. It felt almost closer to like Tobey's first and second films, and definitely not as good. I know I'm still blinded by nostalgia. Though I really enjoyed the inspiration from the Insomniac games. Tom Holland has even come out and said, a lot of the finishing moves and a lot of the combat was heavily inspired.
You can definitely see that.
By that, there's like a web cyclone move that's highlighted in the games that they put into this, and I had my problems with Spider-Man 2 as well for the Insomniac titles, but overall I thought that it was a pretty solid experience overall, and it gives me like a little bit of hope, but at the same time I know that this still isn't just Disney making all of these decisions, and we're probably going to get trash going forward. I mean, maybe Doomsday will be good, but yeah.
It is the existential dread looming over us all, isn't it? Is Doomsday going to be a miracle shot, or is it the hollow, desperate, pitiful death rattle of a franchise that has just thrown so much feces on the wall that you can't... Someone's eaten a gold nugget, so when we're flinging all this poo on the wall, hopefully the gold nugget will emerge. Or will it be good? We're getting a mauler. Or is Gary going to give his take first? What are these boys going to say?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic.
I'll go. I'll let Mahler go last.
Why?
Oh, yeah, Mauler hates it.
Do you want? Okay, Mahler, go.
No, you got this.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to be the bookend of evisceration.
I turned off my brain and really enjoyed the movie.
Fuck.
Gary, no!
I liked it. I liked it. I've seen it twice. I felt the same. Actually, I felt a little better about it upon second viewing. The issues that we will get deeply into are the issue with the villain is valid, and it keeps it from being a much higher score for me. So, and there's one little thing you could have done at the end to fix it that I'll get into in the spoilers. But this is okay. So the Watts trilogy was something I wasn't super on board for because I am a Spider-Man fan from the comics and I want to see Spider-Man. They obviously didn't have that take, but No Way Home made me feel a lot better about what they were doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm aboard for this ride. And I went back and watched Homecoming. I enjoyed Homecoming. There's things that still bother me, but I enjoyed Homecoming. I don't like Far From Home. I still don't like Far From Home. And I don't think I'll ever like Far From Home. And I like No Way Home. What I liked about this movie is it's Tom Holland fucking kills it. He is great. He becomes Spider-Man.
Fuck yeah. That's my feelings exactly.
Not Spider-Boy. He becomes Spider.
Oh, there you actually said this. Yeah, 100%. It's weird because I'm kind of doing a spoiler-free initial reaction to the spoiler-free initial reaction. So we all know I just am doing this for the purpose of they know what happens, I know what happens, and hopefully if anyone on Earth watches this at some point, then you know what happens too. It's yeah, they're going to be right about what we're all hinting at. It is that problem with the antagonist. I suspect Mauler's going to have many more problems with it, not just in that though. So I'll be very interested to hear what the long man says.
Man. And what really worked for me, to echo what Ryan said, was it hit me in the feels.
Yeah.
The emotional aspect is at times surface level, but at times really good. And it's all based on performance. And when I have a character that I connect to in something, I can forgive some stuff because there are certainly, there's questions. And I'll bring up those questions in the spoiler section. But I watched it in 2 crowded theaters. They were pretty enthusiastic. But the most important part is when I walked out of the movie, I felt pretty good. I'm like, man, I really like that. I had a good time.
Fuck yeah. That's exactly what I did. When the credits were done and I walked out of the cinema, I was left thinking, feeling light and positive and just in the Spidey zone. I was like, I need to get more shirts of Spider-Man. I need to get some high-end figures of the guy because it's just awakened that. And I've been watching it with my daughter a lot, and she's just watching live-action Spider-Man movies as of 2 days ago. So it's just, yeah, it's the emotional part, and now what I guess it's connected to on in my own personal life is amping everything up to levels that are, yeah. Let's get to Mauler, for fuck's sake. What's this cunt gonna say?
If only they had done one fucking thing at the end, I would have given it 8, 9 out of 10. But the problem is the villain, the quote unquote villain, and what they do with the villain and the ramifications it has on this film and on future films. And what Disbrew brought up, there's a couple of aspects with the Punisher and Hulk where they start getting into them, and I'm like, I'm really interested in this, and they just. And there was some setting up for future, the whole other storyline that we'll get into, which is Peter's powers evolving due to stress and trauma. That's from J. Michael Straczynski graphic novel called The Other, and I thought it was shoehorned in. And when I heard it was going to be in it, I thought it would be shoehorned in, but I thought they actually dealt with it pretty well, and it didn't dominate the story, but it became part of the story. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I agree with that.
I like the movie. Mauler.
What's
Fuck.
everyone doing?
I'm good, man.
All right, let's go to war. We're ready for it.
So to set this up, Mauler, you loved Homecoming and Far From Home, right?
I think Homecoming is really good. Far From Home is mixed. There's a lot
Okay.
of problems in there, but it's the thing that I like about the Home trilogy is the through line for the character. I think they did a really good job trying to argue what it would look like if we're forced, like shackled into the MCU, and then Spider-Man appears. And so they use lots of elements to try and draw him in. Homecoming has some of the best world building, weirdly, in like all the MCU films. That and Civil War that's like the era in Phase 3 where they try to rebuild things before everything collapses. And yeah, No Way Home's ending, I was like, oh, he did it. That's what I thought he was going to do, and he did it. Where we finally got him to the point now where he's ready for his adult trilogy. But,
Yep.
Yeah, I went and saw this film.
Yeah, you did.
Care to
Right
elaborate?
then.
No.
We're waiting.
Let it rip, buddy.
We're waiting.
I think it would be kind to describe the movie as lobotomized dog shit. Spider-Man is a stalking, invertebrate, agencyless loser. The Punisher is a retarded, spineless coward. There's no exploration of the fundamental difference between their sort of approach to rehabilitation or retribution. They just do memes. Is a irredeemable, psychopathic, completely fucking bailed out monster by
It's supposed to be
both of our
spoiler free,
heroes.
but
It's
Oh,
supposed to
come on,
be.
we're like an hour and a half in.
It's like the world's worst secret.
Yeah, but we're gonna
I
warn
noticed
people
this.
before we get to spoilers.
I don't even think that one's a spoiler, honestly. This is more of a meme.
Of spoilers, that's the most light. That's the light.
Well, I mean, I did kind of blast that out. To be fair to Mahler, I was totally not the first person to say that. So, but Graves in it.
Can you just put the spoiler paddle and we just
Yeah.
talk about him now?
Let's go. But Mahler, you keep going, baby.
Well, that's uncharitable. Fucking hell, can't.
So, yeah, I would say she's an irredeemable psychopathic monster, and she's bailed out by both of our great, pristine heroes. The story has no idea that seems to be happening for her or for them throughout the whole thing. The Hulk is on his fucking 17th humiliation ritual chapter. The Hand have been reduced to hired goons that wander around an office. Yelena is at her most like aggressively pointless and obstructive, despite having 2 minutes of screen time. Scorpion, Tombstone, the other editions, they're all false advertising. DeWolf, Metzger, and Yelena, they're all Peter's like instructors and babysitters. Whenever Peter doesn't have them, he has a personally built-in AI that feeds him all plot points. He has to like wait around and fuck around until he gets told where the plot is so we can move on. I haven't mentioned Ned only exists as a pointless fucking screen time vampire. Michelle Jones, in principle, shouldn't even be in the story, only exists for marketing and marriage, I guess, is at this point. But her presence, I think, just undermines the entire through line for the Home trilogy. Almost every character, as far as I'm concerned, is humiliated, assassinated, or treated like a chore to include because they want to draw in fans with false promises.
Dude, settle the fuck down. Listen here, you fucking... What the fuck, bro?
It's a ridiculously forgiving world that stands in like this really annoying contrast with the last scene we saw, because Peter's like equipped with a small empty apartment, a sewing machine, a custom-made suit, and fucking bankruptcy. Now he has immense technology, a magical 3D printer, the capacity to alter his fucking DNA, limitless finance, means institutional influence, like with multiple cross sections, fucking and complete social satisfaction by the end of the movie. The plot's in tatters. Everyone is retarded to get us to every single payoff. No fight sequence with any villain or any mini boss has much of any personal issue or philosophical difference with Peter Parker or Spider-Man. The vast majority aren't even aware they are fighting him. The thematic value has been skewered from all the work, as far as I'm concerned, that John Watts set up, and we've reset the chance of getting to Spider-Man to have a complete regression into Spider-Boy, as far as I'm concerned. It's insulting garbage and easily the worst Spider-Man movie in the MCU. It's not even close.
Well, man. Well, I'll definitely going to watch all of Mauler, EFAP. I'll watch Friday Night Tights. I haven't seen any of that. Yeah, fuck. Tell us how you really feel, mate. Fuck me. It will be really interesting to how to... Because he's not just saying, like, it's bad. It's saying calling it lobotomized dog shit would be charity. Like, fucking hell, cunt. You fun-sucking sack of shit. Go fuck yourself. Nah, Mauler rules. He actually is, like, the best analyst that I listen to. And I heed his breakdowns on a lot of things. He's changed my mind on a lot of stuff. And I dare say he'll point out a bunch of stuff that I can agree with and everything. But the Ned point and MJ, I don't think that carries any water. I'll be interested to see how he justifies that in his clips. He's definitely not talking about... You see the difference between Mauler? He's not talking about the performances and the acting and that, which he shouldn't from his point of view. He's talking about the plot. Like, writing is king. And it's hard-pressed to... You kind of... This is why a lot of people struggle to debunk Mauler. In fact, they fail every time they do, because he only focuses on the writing. He will talk about other stuff, but he'll make sure that he gets his job done and does the due diligence on the plot. And that's why you have an emotional reaction override your logic. Like, right then, I'll be lying if I said that I wasn't fuming hearing him describe it like that, because you get protective over the things you like. I described earlier about how we eviscerated Man of Steel, and when I listened to their breakdown of it, I agreed with everything that they were saying. All the criticisms are, for the vast majority, valid. Now, I don't just listen to them because I'm a fan and they just instantly convert me into a hater. It's kind of like the philosophy is, it's like, you're welcome to like dog shit so long as you acknowledge the writing here is in fact dog shit. But that will be very enlightening. It is interesting to do a reaction and have my that flare up. It's like, man, like, I love this movie. I really did. And I acknowledge that the emotional impact that it had on me is it makes you defensive over shit, doesn't it? You really do attach yourself. You see something of yourself and it activates that protective tribal layer that makes you want to fucking scream at some cunt because they hate your favorite thing. So hopefully I've done a long enough reaction. Normally, you know, I'm pretty fucking new to YouTube, so normally I get a bit anxious or angsty when I'm recording stuff, so I've let this one breathe much longer than anything else I've done, so that you can kind of flush out where my personality is at. Because if I'm lashing out at something, like I was, you know, jokingly giving Shad a shit canning for being a Mormon earlier, I don't fucking buy any of that, and I was, fucking hell, Mauler, you fun sponge cunt. You'd be fun at a party, wouldn't ya? Quite frankly, I think that this party is a poor imitation of a social gathering. The very premise of why we're all here to begin with is to intermingle and socialize, and yet I find that most people are either inebriated, buried in their phones, or distracted, musing about the external world. But he's the king at breaking down all this stuff, so I'm very much looking forward to hearing what he has to say. I'll just have a few days to enjoy unpolluted my liking of the movie and think of my own stuff, and then I'll jump into the EFAP reactions if they have them out yet. I'm not sure if EFAP have done theirs yet, and watch Friday Night Tights and that, and that'll be the good thing with EFAP, because you've got Fringy and Little Platoon on there, and Fringy and Mauler do a good job of, they're very much in sync with each other's opinions, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, like they piggyback off each other. No, they're both just really good at what they do, and you get to hear them flush it out on the recording. And Little Platoon he's very interesting and just as nuanced as they are. And when he has a disagreement with them, he's good at justifying and explaining his analysis, the whys, the hows, and that. So I'll be very keen to hear what they say about it. And if indeed they find any redemptive qualities in this movie, that will be interesting, because I haven't heard Mauler react as strongly to a movie since Deadpool 3. And what's weird is I actually agreed with him on Deadpool 3. I was so pissed off watching that. Now, that movie it has the same thing on me. I'm such a sucker for emotion, and I guess that it's like in music, that the musicmanship of the guitarist or singer, how much it makes me get the goosebumps and that. Like with Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman's performance was working on me. Even though Mauler's evisceration of that movie was sound, and I agreed because he felt like betrayed as a fan, and I agreed with him. That movie as a story is garbage. But this movie's different because I actually really like it. And I love Spider-Man so much. It's not to say that it just because it's Spider-Man, it's untouchable. Like, I didn't really like the Andrew Garfield ones, and I thought the third Tobey movie, like most people, was like such a fall from grace after the second one. But, man, Mauler. Well, you didn't disappoint. I'm not going to listen to any more because I may as well just, they've got their own podcasts and YouTube channels and do their job. So watch their shit. It's far more nuanced, in depth, and worthy of listening to than mine. I'm not putting myself down. I like where I stand on shit. I'm just not as good at it as it. So fucking hell, mate. I think out of this whole panel, I agreed mostly with Ryan and Gary. And Garrett, I guess. And I acknowledge what everyone's talking about. These guys all seem to, except for Mauler, everyone's kind of likes it everyone's going to have their little things they pick at. And it was the third act and the implications for the villain, which I definitely see. Mauler seems to hate the entire thing. Straight off the bat, I have to hear his reasons why. I'm not going to strawman him and pretend that he's arguing for something he's not and then attack that. And by now you'll be able to tell I don't have the wherewithal to be able to argue it anyway. So much as to say, I don't think that it was a waste of time. I don't think we have the regression to Spider-Boy. I do think we have Spider-Man. I do think he became a man. The story with MJ, I don't know. I'll be interested to see if it's a preference for him that Spider-Man move on from MJ and stuff like this. Whereas I was on the Romeo and Juliet boat where such is the case with love in the real world, and told nicely through this movie. I thought that even when you set up to move on, you can't. But he's forced to because the spell worked. Like, MJ doesn't love him, doesn't remember him, but he still can't be without her, and he's still manning up and doing everything he can to protect everyone around him and that. Fuck me dead. Fuck me dead. All right, later.